Jon Williams with Manulife Securities and Williams Financial Group. Today I'm going to talk to you about opportunity costs and the impact that has on your portfolios. So let's talk about opportunity costs. What exactly is an opportunity cost? Opportunity cost, according to economics, is the value of the best alternative foregone. Now, specifically I want to talk today about people maintaining large cash balances that they're going to be using to fund their retirement. Because from my perspective, the logical opportunity cost, of course, would be the rate of return that money would be receiving had it been invested properly. But not only that, there's a twofold opportunity cost from my perspective, because the investors that are maintaining these cash balances are also losing money each year to inflation. And I want to start off by talking a little bit about inflation, share a story with you about my grandfather. My grandfather retired from Cominco back in 1969. And when he retired, back then they used to have pension plans, very attractive ones, where if you worked there for your whole life, you're going to get 70% of your income guaranteed for the rest of your life. Now, one of the things this type of plan did not have was any indexing to inflation. And so throughout his retirement, 30 years later in 1999, his lifestyle was dramatically different as to what he could afford and how he could afford to live than when he originally retired. When he originally retired, they had a great lifestyle, and they had to continually cut back as they were retired for longer. Now, most people aren't going to have those types of pension plans today, but in fact, they're funding their own retirement. And therefore, they're choosing how to invest their portfolios. And like I said, people with large cash balances are losing money each year. So let's talk about the impact to inflation. Now, we're going to take a look at a 30-year time span here, and I want to give an example of what would happen to the dollar value, to the purchasing power of my investments over a 30-year time period. So let's say, for instance, an investor had $100,000 invested over a 30-year time period, and we're going to start off with a 3% inflation rate, and then we're going to talk about a 5% inflation rate. At 3% inflation over a 30-year time period, the purchasing power, the real value of this $100,000 at a 3% inflation rate becomes $41,200. At a 5% inflation rate, the value of it drops all the way down to $23,100. Now you might be saying, John, 5% is unrealistic. Well, as a matter of fact, interestingly enough, the inflation rate that my grandfather experienced while he was retired was an average of 5.34%. So let's bring this back to a real life example. Let's say today a person retired and they were getting a pension plan, and let's say it was an attractive pension plan of, say, $45,000 a year of retirement income. So what would the impact be if they experienced the same inflation rate as my grandfather did when they were retired? What if they experienced a 5% inflation rate over 30 years? What does their income essentially drop to? It's astounding. It drops to just over $10,000 per year equivalent. So I think you can see why my grandparents had to adjust their retirement income, or their retirement lifestyle rather, so dramatically throughout retirement, because they felt this equivalent drop while the dollar amount stayed the same. Inflation every single year ate away at the value of their dollars. And this is what's happening to people today that are holding, again, a lot of cash in their retirement income. Is not only are they not growing their investments, they're losing money each year to inflation. And I just thought, interestingly enough, what would the rate of return have been for a portfolio, that $100,000 portfolio, if they had actually invested it over the same time period? After inflation, the investor would have made about 8.87%. So not to say that a retiree would necessarily have all of their money invested, in this case is the S&P 500, but even if it was a balanced portfolio, obviously they would be able to keep up with inflation and then some. So thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to go to our website or email us. Take care.